Hey guys, alright, so this is our first part 2 spoilers for the book that we had been talking about, and it's Lynn / Jennifer L. Armentrout's book, Scorched, which, as everybody knows, well, for most people, it is the second book in the Frigid series, and it's sort of more of a spin-off, not a sequel. I mean, it has the characters from Frigid, they're still involved, they're part of it, but it's really not anything really to do with them. Okay, so this is our spoiler one because this is for people if you have read the book or if you don't care and you want to know what happens. But this is my review on that. Like I said, I gave this book because if it's Jalen, I love her book. So I call her Jalen. I know some people call her Jennifer and Jennifer L. Armentrout. I call her Jalen, her tag, just because it's easier, it's quicker. But just because it's her, I automatically give her 2 stars because everything I've read from her, at least quality-wise, when you're reading, I think kind of comes up to at least 2 stars. This one, like I said, I'd give it 2.5. Maybe if you wanted to hit 3 in terms of heat and, steamy scenes, because it is more of it's got adult material, okay? This is not for your tweens or teens. It's got adult material, but for those kind of scenes, be like, yeah, 3 stars. But as the book as a whole, I think I would kind of jet it down to maybe 2.5 because it's not a bad book. It's just not something I would rush to reread again. Highlights, obviously, are steamy scenes. We love them with Jalen. She does a great job. But other stuff that you were kind of like I said, I did not buy the whole, when she describes herself, this Andrea, when she describes herself, I get a visual, okay? I've had those issues, body issues that she's talking about, where she's saying her thighs don't touch, and she's got a big butt, and her thighs are really big, and her chest is huge. I mean, when you're thinking about certain things, you think about the proportions. When she was describing, I kind of got the impression that she's got a flatter tummy when she said her tummy did this concave thing in. That means, it's like when you suck it in, But, other than that, she kind of described herself as being tall, oversized. She didn't say exactly what size she was, but she was like, I'm not a size 2. I'm not even a size 10. So when she describes kind of like that, it makes you think she's a bigger size, which that alone, you're kind of like, okay, you're getting your proportions. He thinks she's just curvaceous and beautiful, but he is supposed to be this rock hard, sexy, gorgeous looking guy. And I don't know, sometimes it's one of those things that everyone likes to think, oh, I can dream because I'm being, more curvy girl. And I literally describe curvy because I've got a flat stomach, but I got a booty. I got a Kim Kardashian booty going on. But it's one of those that, for the most part, that's not really something you see. And it's hard to really imagine somebody who's, the bigger girl getting the hottie with a body. It's just like, it's nice and it's fiction, so that's great. But I don't know. Sometimes when I see that, it bumps me out a little. Bumps me out of the story because it's like, okay, that's not how the world really works. But like I say, it's fiction, so it's all good. She's got red hair. He's got brown hair, kind of like supposed to be really. But he's going through this thing. He wants to be a cop, so he's getting ready to go away to the academy. He did the army. He did, schooling, I believe, all this stuff so that he could become get a better shot in the academy, which I want to laugh because that's actually very true. My cousin's a cop and did all that stuff, and you do have a better shot of it. So he's getting ready to do that. She's going through a bit of an issue because her family is all doctors and, plastic surgeons, and they're really well off. And she decided when she was going through all this stuff, getting ready and doing med school, she doesn't want to be a doctor. She wants to be a teacher. So her parents basically wouldn't fund it, so she had to take out loans, and she's paying those back. and she volunteers at the suicide hotline and, you know, the hospital and all this stuff. So it's later stuff that he finds out that is kind of like more because he just thought she was a spoiled rich girl who sat on her butt and did nothing all day. So, you know, you kind of learn and that kind of grows. They've got this underlying tension of, you know, kind of like hostility, but that they still kind of like want each other. You know, they antagonize and tease each other, but that they really, really like each other. They go to a cabin with the two characters from Frigid, but Sydney and I'm forgetting his name. But anyways, they go with the two of them, and they go to a new cabin because obviously if you've read Frigid and you know what happens, it doesn't end that great, and they don't really want to go back to that cabin. So they get a different cabin and they go. And so the two main characters kind of go off doing camping and all this stuff so that they can have privacy and work on their issues, because he's decided he's finally going to pursue her. He's going to go after her. Like I say, good steamy scenes. Kind of starts to come to a head that one of the underlying issues that they feel she has is that she drinks too much and that she's basically an alcoholic. Later, it's discussed that she was using it as medication for depression. Yeah, it's kind of legit. It's just one of those that, you know, when they kind of sweep through it, it was kind of like, you know, thought maybe there was other problems, but no, she was depressed, and not even situationally depressed. It was a chemical imbalance, and that's what made her. So you were just kind of like, oh, okay. The big things that kind of happen is she admits that she needs help, although she's court mandated, because she trashes her car while drunk. She runs into a guy that she hooked up with and at a bar, and he's basically hitting on her, but she does not remember going really. She doesn't remember his name. She doesn't really remember anything about him. She just remembers glimpses of them hooking up a little bit. So she runs out, even though she'd been drinking, and crashes her car. And he's on call because he's a volunteer firefighter at the moment while waiting to get to attend the academy. And he hears the call through the radio to extract her. So it was a whole big thing on that end. I think the one thing that kind of just made me like, ugh, was she claims that she'd had a crush on him. She'd basically kind of been in love with him and was mad at how things go, and she was kind of holding it against him. He's supposed to be another one who's kind of a love him and leave him, you know, kind of, you know, main guy. And she met him, I think she said her freshman year. She had like 2 classes with him and saw him and thought he was like gorgeous. But hi, my brother. But he had never known that she existed, and so she, you know, tells her roommate, you know, oh my God, he's so gorgeous. Oh my God, I'm crazy about him. Like, she has this kind of like unrequited, far off love that she's crazy about him. And she decides, you know, doesn't really have any plans to make a move, doesn't really have any plans to do anything about it, just kind of likes to like him from afar. And one night she comes home after something, and opens the door and finds her roommate, who I would be more mad at the roommate that she had told that she was crazy about him, decided to hook up with him, bring him back, didn't put the sock on the door to let her know, or tie on the door to let her know. So she walks in and sees the two of them. He starts to look up and she leaves the room, but it's kind of soured her, and she kind of, you know, she admits that it doesn't make sense and that it's not fair, but you see she really, like, you know, really holds it against him, and, you know, it kind of leads up to that, like, it's some secret for why, and then that's what it is. And it's kind of like, I don't know. It was one of those that it was like, really? Like, okay, you're mad at this guy because you had a crush on him and you pined for him and you, I don't know, and you found out that he was like, she knew he was, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's like one of those when you have a crush on like a model or something or an actor, and then it's like you find out they're dating someone. It's like, what? It's like it's like you don't have any piece of that outrage, that upset. I mean, I could understand if it was directed towards the roommate. I'd be more mad at the roommate. Like, I told you I really like this guy. Like, why wouldn't you like have forewarned me or done something? I don't know. Which kind of holds it against him a little bit. It becomes a fight at one point, and rightly so, because if I were a guy, I'd be like, excuse me? I didn't know you existed. He claims that he liked her from the moment he saw her with Sydney, and was kind of more shocked that they had had a class together. He claims he had never seen her, didn't know her, because if he had, he would have been attracted to her, so on and so forth. But the point of the matter is neither here nor there. That's kind of, but they made it out to be one of more of the bigger points, and it was like, really, like, it's not. Like, that's, I think it's, I'm sorry, I think it's stupid. Like, I don't care for it. So it's a whole thing, and but yeah, he starts to be worried about her drinking, all this stuff. She kind of does it to kind of like escape everything. They finally hook up, and it's this big thing. And then he says he kind of wants to, pursue something once they're done and they go back home. But then the next day, in order to give her a little bit of space and let her calm down, she thinks he's ignoring her. And so she gets mad and gets drunk, and or she suffers from panic attacks, we find out, and that's what she basically has, is a panic attack, and she can't take her meds because you can't take them while drinking. And it's just, it's a whole thing. Like I say, she wrecks her car, she gets put into mandatory rehab, which she then, admits to having a problem. It's kind of really like, then she gets out, obviously she gets out, they get back together, but it's just one of those that it's kind of like, there are a few things that they kind of glossed over that I was kind of like, okay, like, she kind of said, I can't believe nobody holds me more responsible. I can't believe nobody held me more responsible. Like, it was like, oh, you were so brave for finally admitting you had a problem and for overcoming this and doing all this. Like, she crashed her car. She could have killed someone. She has, an issue, and you want to be like, okay, good for you. But I just felt like everybody was like, you're so brave. I'm so proud of you. And I'm just like, I mean, it's good, working with people who've had those issues. It's, you want to see that. I'm sorry, I'm a counselor, but you want to see that from people or sport, but it's so rarely what happens that when you're like, okay. But another thing that got really, really glossed over was they almost were bringing in the possibility of date rape. And I was kind of like, all right, I don't understand that at all. Said, did you ever go home with anybody and, not mean to? Did you ever go home with anybody and not realize it? Or did you not want to do those things with them when you got home? And it's kind of like, she's like, basically almost kind of hints to, yes, that was the case. And that she possibly could have, like, basically in a sense been raped, but she doesn't want to deal with that. So it gets brushed over. And it's, I don't know, that was one of the subjects that I'm like, if you're even going to delve into that kind of subject matter, like, that would have almost been more of a thing to hit than her, having a crush on him and him doing the roommate or having, I don't know. I just think that would almost be something more to hit. The fact that they kind of hinted to it and then glossed it over and like, yeah, that's probably something that happened, but we're not going to discuss it. It was like, well, okay. So I didn't care for that. But other than that, like I said, I like reading her books a lot. I mean, usually the material and the flow is good. Always love the steamy scenes. But like I said, 2.5 stars. Would not reread it. I like the first book, Frigid, that had a lot of action pace and like stuff going that you were like, oh my god. And kind of flowed a bit more better. I would probably at some point do a review on Frigid. But anyways, like I said, that was my review. All her other books are really good. I'll probably be doing reviews on them in some time. But yeah, if you want to see a review on anything that's, even if it's an older book, just send me a message and let me know, or post it below for suggestions. I'll probably set up something where you guys can do requests. But other than that, I'll just be doing things for what I read. Okay. From the maddening mind of Haley B. I'll see you guys later.